Welcome to the Lose Weight, Live Life podcast. If you're a female professional or entrepreneur who would do anything to lose weight, yet finds it impossible to stick to a diet, to eat less, or just what you think you should, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life and weight coach, Clair MACKENZIE. Listen in to learn how to stop overeating, lose weight for the last time, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, all without diet deprivation and self-sabotage. Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to podcast episode number 71. This is a listener Q&A. But first, how is it going? We are a good way into January now, and this could be the time where if I had started a diet for the new year, it would be starting to feel difficult. I might be thinking this is no fun, I can't go on like this. In fact, I know very clearly the exact time when it would go wrong, and typically it would have been when we got together for my dad's birthday, which is the 25th of Jan. It would often be the first social occasion of the year, and having a meal, having a drink and cake, after restricting what I ate for a few weeks, I would eat more than I told myself I should do. I would feel stuffed, I would carry on eating, and then somehow I would find that I could never quite get back on track the next day, and it would feel like the diet that I'd been on would just unravel and I would feel out of control. So if you can relate, if weight loss is feeling difficult right now and you're using willpower to not eat all the things, please know that there is another way. You don't have to constantly be in battle with yourself. And so with this in mind, what I'm doing today is responding to some posts inside of the Lose Weight, Live Life community. That's the free community on the Facebook, which you are very welcome to join by going to www.facebook.com/groups/lose weight, live life. That's all one word. But before I dive in, I also want to let you know that you have until midnight on the 24th of Jan to enroll in the Lose Weight, Live Life Academy. We start the first module of the Food for Thought program next week. The Preparing for Success call is available on replay right now, so you can watch that immediately when you enroll. If you're interested in joining us and taking part in the 10-week Food for Thought program, in addition to getting everything else that is in the Academy, you can find out all of the details and enroll at www.thebestyou.coach/enroll. Okay, I'm so excited about working with everyone already taking part in the Food for Thought program, and I would love you to join us. And because I've been spending lots of time in the Academy this week, I've not been keeping up with everyone in the free community. And so I thought I would address a couple of things that have come up here on the podcast today. Now, the first is this question, which I love because it gets right to the crux of what is the problem for so many of us. So this is the question. I would be grateful for some of your thoughts. Is there anyone else in here that absolutely loathes cooking and every day having to think about meals? I really hate cooking and I definitely don't want to batch cook. Is anyone feeling frustrated that we can't just eat cakes and sweets and savoury items every day and be thin? I think this is a brilliant question. And of course, I know that so many of you could relate, which is why I wanted to address it right here on the podcast. When we're spending time wishing we could eat cake, sweets and other savoury items that don't require cooking and be thin, we're using our mental capacity and energy in arguing with reality. Author Byron Katie has shared lots on this topic. She says when we argue with reality, we only lose 100% of the time. She writes about how we cause ourselves so much unnecessary suffering when we argue with what is. Spending time feeling frustrated that you cannot live off cake and sweets and pre-prepared savoury foods is like living life wishing you could maybe earn a living without actually going to work, or pass an exam without knowing anything about the topic or studying for it. It's going to keep you stuck and prevent you getting what you truly want in life. You're keeping yourself suffering. But I have some good news for you. You see, whilst you think that you want the cake and sweets, and to not eat the foods that require cooking, it's just a way of being that you've taught yourself. It's not who you are. Whilst thinking the way that you're thinking right now is making the idea of doing something different feel very daunting or burdensome, it doesn't need to be that way. You can totally shift how you think and how you feel in order to make it easier and more enjoyable to do the things that would lead you to being the weight that you want to be. Right now, it may feel difficult to believe that it's possible to want to eat differently because you've programmed your brain and body and mind to like what you like. the cakes and the sweets. But you can get an upgrade. You can upgrade your brain, your body, and your mind to want something else, to want something that is aligned with losing weight or managing your. So how do you do that? Well, you make small, tiny shifts and changes to what you think and feel and do. You start to explore the possibility that maybe those cakes, sweets, and savoury foods you want to eat aren't quite as amazing as you're telling yourself they are. You also open yourself up to other possibilities. It's possible that there are foods I can eat to help me lose weight that don't require cooking. It's possible I can cook meals that taste good and help me to lose weight in maybe just 15 minutes a day. It's possible I can create a couple of weekly meal plans that I can just rotate so that I don't have to be constantly thinking about what to cook. A great way to move forward is to step into curiosity as you make small changes. Make changes from the place of experimenting with being curious about what will work for you. When we're used to having lots of refined foods, the dopamine receptors in our brain down-regulate so that when we have non-refined foods, the pleasure from the dopamine released with those foods doesn't give us the same amount of pleasure. We're constantly wanting more and more. But we can reverse that in just the same way that we can reverse how our body responds to the overproduction of insulin when we eat highly refined sweet foods, which of course increases our risk of diabetes. We can reverse the way in which our brain responds to the foods that cause us to release dopamine as well. If you can relate to this question, I would love you to step out of feeling frustrated and wanting to be able to have the things you want by asking yourself what you truly want. Okay, I'm guessing you want to maybe be able to eat in a way that feels easy, eat foods that feel good, that taste good, that you're enjoying, so that you can be the weight that you want to be. That's what you actually want. And I promise you can absolutely do that. You can create that for yourself. Focus on what you truly want, not what you think you want, and then set yourself the task of making that happen for you. Now, a response to more general thoughts that are coming up in the Facebook group, because I'm seeing many of you post this or something related, and that is the thought, or I'm behind. And this comes up a lot, and I can totally relate, but again, it's a way of thinking that our mind does very easily that has absolutely no upside. You see, our brain is constantly on the lookout for danger, for things that in cavemen days would have put our lives at risk. And in those days, if we were behind, in inverted commas, if we were not keeping up with the group, we would, of course, have run the risk of being attacked and eaten by a wild animal. But not only is that not going to happen today, but also there is not a behind, okay? There is no weight loss journey race. There is no keeping up, in inverted commas, to be done. This is fundamental in everything that I teach and coach on. There is only you, what you want and what's right for you. No one else and nothing else matters from the perspective of you and your relationship with food, yourself, and your life. Also, I think that sometimes we tell ourselves we're behind in the hope that it will compel us to maybe move forward more quickly or catch up. But not only is there no benefit in moving forward more quickly or catching up, but thinking thoughts that don't feel great hinder us more than they help us because they damage the relationship we have with ourselves. So if you notice that you're thinking you're behind and feeling disappointed or frustrated, if you're thinking that you should have done something that you haven't as a part of your weight loss efforts and feeling burdened by that, or maybe you have that, what I call that little tiny icky feeling of shame, give yourself a break. Remind yourself that you're doing your best. Trust that what you have done is just what you needed and or you will do the next thing you want to do when it is right for you. This is not you letting yourself off the hook. This is relaxing the hold you have on yourself to give yourself the opportunity to hear what you want rather than constantly telling yourself what you think you should want. And sometimes when you do that, a little magic happens. Sometimes suddenly doing whatever it is that feels incredibly easy when previously it felt so difficult. And sometimes you notice that you didn't need that extra thing because you already have or you're already doing exactly what you need that's right for you. So everyone listening here, give yourself a break. You can make significant positive changes by doing tiny things consistently. You don't always need to be doing everything or doing more. And lastly, the third thing I want to talk about is the topic of you making the rules. Some of you are posting in the Facebook group that this isn't working for me or it's too hard. And that's fascinating because everything that I'm teaching you is about you finding a way of eating that you want to eat, about you finding the way of losing the weight that you want to lose that is right for you. So when you say this, in inverted commas, isn't working for me, you are saying that you're not choosing to do what works for you. you're not making it work for you. Or when you say it's too hard, you're not seeing that you must be the one making it hard. You see, you have all the power. You have the power to decide what would work for you. You have the power to do things that you don't think of as hard, or you can choose to do what you are doing and think about it differently so that it doesn't feel hard. Maybe for the first time ever, you are putting yourself in charge of you and your relationship with food. You get to choose what you want to eat. When it comes to you making the rules, and by the way, I was hesitant to use that word rules because I think it triggers some of us to rebel. So I Googled the definition, and one part of the definition said a set of principles around a specific topic. That's all it is. So when you make the rules, you are deciding what principles you want to have in your relationship with food, which I think fits very well with the idea of figuring out how you want to eat for life. It fits with you deciding what's the right balance between eating for fuel and nourishment and comfort and pleasure for you. The great thing about being in charge, not only of your destiny, but also of the path that you choose to get there, is that you can fix anything. Whatever it is that's not working, you get to choose what to do about it. So I just want to leave you with this question, which I encourage you to ask yourself every single day. What do I want? Ask yourself that question when you're stuck noticing what you don't want. Ask yourself, what do I want? If you want a way of eating that gives you as much pleasure as you currently get from eating cakes and sweets without gaining weight, you can create it for yourself. You can learn to enjoy different foods without spending a ton of time cooking and be the weight you want to be. When you're open and willing to focusing on what you truly want, when you want to not be behind, you get to create that for yourself too. When you want to find something that works for you or to make it easier, you can do that. Ask yourself what you want, believe you can have it, and then relax into figuring out what the journey to getting it looks like for you. Okay. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to everyone who has been posting and sharing in the Lose Weight Live Life community this week. If you would like help getting what you want, if you would like help designing your journey to get it, then do come join us in the Lose Weight Live Life Academy. Enrollment closes at midnight on Monday, the 24th of January. You can find out all of the details at www.thebestyou.coach/enroll. That's got one L. All right, thanks everybody. See you next week. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and are ready to live a more intentional life, lose weight as a part of that journey, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, then I would be honoured to be your coach. There are 2 ways that you can work with me. You can join my monthly membership program, My One Life Academy, that gives you self-paced learning, supported by twice weekly live calls and a whole lot more. Or you can join the waiting list for my next 6-month Lose Weight, Live Life Group Coaching Mastermind Intensive. Go to www.thebestyou.coach/coaching to find out all the details.